The historic Minster town of Southwell, located in the beautiful Nottinghamshire countryside, is a vibrant local community offering a great range of places to stay, eat and drink, and probably the best shopping experience for independent shops and boutiques in the county. King Street, with its variety of fashion and gift shops and salons, winds its way past the library and the Saturday marketplace towards the leafy Burgage Green and the countryside beyond. Pubs, cafes and restaurants offering local specialities as well as international cuisine contribute to this exciting scene. Queen Street and the marketplace adjoining the landmark Saracen's Head Hotel offers fresh foods, hardware, designer furnishings and on-trend gifts. The local post office is a major destination here. There are magnificent views of Southwell Minster from Church Street and Westgate, which also contribute to the retail scene, with restaurants, a wine bar, fashion and gifts, and the Minster's own cathedral shop. Southwell is also home to the world-famous Bramley Apple.
We are standing against the Bramley's seedling apple tree. This remarkable original tree which produced the most wonderful and well-known fruit that we know today. It is now over 200 years old and is still producing fruit and just alive, under the care of Nottingham Trent University. The story really starts with a yeoman family called Brailsford who moved into this cottage at the end of the 1700s. We believe that in about 1809, Mother was preparing a dish and her youngest daughter, seeing Mother prepare the apples, took some of the pips from one apple and planted them. And amazingly, one or more of these pips grew. At that time, young girls married early, and Mary Ann moved away from the cottage. And so we believe it was Mother Elizabeth who looked after this young sapling. She died in 1837. It was eventually bought by a Mr. Matthew Bramley, and at about that time my great-grandfather Henry Merryweather and his father had started a small nursery on Hallam Road in Southwell. And Henry happened to be walking down Church Street one particular morning and bumped into a gardener who was carrying a basket of very fine apples, and he asked them what they were. "They're from Old Man Bramley's, and I suggest you go and see him." And with Matthew's permission he took grafts from the tree and grew them on his nursery. And as these young trees grew, he was all the more convinced that this was an exceptional apple and a remarkable fruit. And in 1876, he showed a sample to the Fruit Committee of the Royal Horticultural Society, who highly commended it. And from then on, it became more and more widely known and more widely grown. And now, we are going to visit Suzannah Starkey. It was here at Norwood Hall that my great-grandfather learnt his trade.
Hi, welcome to Starkey's Fruit Farm. I'm Suzannah Starkey, and this orchard is a stone's throw away from the original tree in the town. My great-grandfather John collaborated with Henry Merryweather and planted the first commercial orchard in 1910. Now, the old tree is not in best of health, but the University of Nottingham Life Sciences Department propagated a clone from the original tree, and then that clone was given to my father, and then my father has cuttings taken and grown on their own rootstock to create the exact same genetic inheritance of the original Bramley, which means we know that her future is secure and people can enjoy the original Bramley forever. So These Bramleys, grown on their own rootstock, are vigorous and they need to be on a post and wire to keep them contained. But the wonderful thing about these Bramleys, unlike others, are that they're sweeter. So if I was to take a refractometer, a wonderful gadget which measures the sugar levels, you would find this would be a lot sweeter than your average Bramley. So this is exactly the same as the original Bramley.
So let's all sing of the Bramley, all sing of the Bramley.
We're picking today and grading today in this beautiful September sunshine. Next month is our wonderful Bramley Apple Festival, so we look forward to seeing you all in Southwell, where you can buy these Bramleys fresh and you can make lots of lovely pies. So now we're going to go over to Teresa Bovey, the expert in cooking, and she will show you a beautiful way to do things with your Bramley. They're very versatile fruit, so there's so many other things you can do. Look forward to seeing you next year. Bramtastic!
I'm going to show you one of my favourite Bramley apple recipes today. This is a lovely apple cake recipe, and to start with, when you're preparing Bramleys, just get a bowl of water with a little bit of water inside and put some lemon juice in it. And then as you peel the apple, pop the apple into the acidic water and that will stop it from going brown. So the Bramley's is a renowned cooking apple. It's favoured by many chefs and home cooks as the best apple for cooking because it retains its flavour and it breaks down to this lovely fluffy consistency. What I'm going to do is just core the apple, cut it into slices like so, and you need to prepare for this recipe. You need 500 grams of apples, which is roughly 3 to 4 Bramleys. So I've prepared the 4 apples now, and I'm going to cook them just very lightly for 2 to 3 minutes. And in the pan behind me, I've melted 15 grams, just a small knob of butter, about 15 grams of butter. You don't need to use a lot of fat in this recipe at all. Now, a Bramley, of course, is quite acidic and quite sharp. I love the sharp flavour, but if you want to sweeten it, just add a spoonful of caster sugar to this, just over the top, and that's enough for this cake. You don't need to put lots and lots of sugar into it. So just pop this onto the cooker at the back and just cook it for 2 to 3 minutes. It just softens the apple slightly. So just after a minute or 2 of cooking, just give the apples a stir and then cook them for another minute. And I'll go on now to making the cake. I've got soft margarine here, and I'm just going to quickly cream this with my vanilla sugar. And just turn that off and just scrape the rest of this sugar out. So you'll see it starts to lighten in colour. So once the mixture is nice and creamy, you can add eggs one at a time. Scrape the mixture from the sides as well to make sure that it's all evenly blended. And then I'm going to add 125 grams or a small carton of natural yogurt. You can use natural yogurt or Greek yogurt in this recipe. So now I'm just going to add some self-raising flour and a spoonful of baking powder just to give the cake the rise. And I always sieve it in because by sieving it, again, you get a much lighter sponge. And then you just fold all this in so you've got this lovely light cake mixture. I'm going to sort of make a little bit of a crumble mix as well to go with this. In my bowl here, I've got some 30 grams of flour and about 15 grams of butter. And I've just mix together the butter and the flour, And then to this, I'm going to add a spoonful of brown sugar, and then also half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then just mix this all up together. And then prepare your baking tin. This is a 20 centimetre cake tin, and it's a springform tin, so it's easy to get the cake out at the end. Grease your paper with a little bit of oil or butter and put the greaseproof paper in the base. And then you need to put 2/3 of this mixture into the bottom of your cake tin. Spread 2/3 of the mixture out into the tin, and then you add your poached Bramley apples. The recipe cooks well. Now the beauty of this Bramley dish, you can change it so many ways. You could take out 100 grams of the apple and you could put blueberries or blackberries or plums in it. Spread it out. And then the crumble mixture here, which has just got the flavour of cinnamon, you can put some at the base or some just all over the top, and then top it with the remaining cake mix. So now you just spread all this out, and then it takes about 1 hour and 10 minutes to cook. Gas mark 4, fan 150 degrees. Pop that straight into my preheated oven. And it's risen beautifully and gone a lovely golden brown colour. Don't be tempted to take it out of the tin straight away. Just leave it for about 10 minutes and then you'll find it comes away from the sides. Bramleys, of course, are full of antioxidants. They're really good for you. They have a lot of pectin. I use Bramleys in things like jam making. I use them for compots. They have so many uses, and because they are tart and acidic, they're really good with things like pork. And of course, if you're perhaps diabetic and you want to cut down on sugar in your diet, a Bramley is ideal. So once the tin has cooled slightly, run your knife all the way round the cake, and then release the springform spring, say a little prayer and remove it. And there you have a beautifully made, even if I say it myself, beautifully made Bramley apple cake, which is lovely served with custard or with cream or just with a nice cup of tea or coffee. And I'm actually going to hand you over to Roger again now, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about this year's Bramley Apple Festival.
This year we are unable to hold our normal type of festival due to the problems with social distancing. But we are recognising the date, and we are promoting the apple in the week 19th to the 24th of October. The shops will be decorating their windows and using Bramley apples in those displays. There will be a display of apples in the library. The restaurants and cafes will be using apples in the menus that they produce during that week. The shops will be delighted to welcome you, and during that week we hope that you will visit us and have a good time at this year's Bramley Festival. We would also like to thank Southwell Town Council, the Newton Sherwood District Council and the Nottinghamshire County Council for the ongoing support that they have given to this festival. So please come to Southwell in that week, 19th to 24th of October, and enjoy yourselves.